Good morning, good morning. This is a banked video. My name is Red Moon Eagle, and you are watching Daily Devotions with Red Moon Eagle. I bank these a little bit along the way because I have time, and in the future I may not have time, and I want to make sure that something gets out. And right now I am following a transformational flow through 4 decks, and it can be pretty intense for people, including myself, who's filming them. And usually when I'm filming these, I've done 1 or 2 already, and plus my own daily devotional. So there's a lot of energy that gets moving and a lot of things that get unstuck, and I end up writing a lot. So if this is, hopefully this finds you in a beautiful place and a beautiful day, and this helps you with your day. Daily devotions are supposed to be us being together out in the world with a little bit more mindfulness as to what's happening to us and why is it happening to us, and where instead of it happening at you, you become a participant in your world. So let's start with the first card. The first card comes from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. And this card is number 39, Romantic Love. The frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel whole and complete through the experience with and reflection of a cosmic conscious lover. Love is probably the most sought after, mysterious, indeterminate, and fulfilling feeling that a human can experience. Its mystery surely derives from the fact that we cannot really describe or define what it is. Is it an energy? Is it an emotion? This, as vibrational beings, we hold a frequency that aligns with the frequency of our thoughts and our emotions, and from that vibrational point of attention, we attract everything else to our reality. Love is one of the highest frequencies. When we are in a state of love, we are easily attracted to circumstances and people into our reality that we are aligned with that frequency. The journey to becoming whole and complete within can be taken alone, but many prefer the support of another. Romantic love image shows a flower that pours out vibrancy and intensity from its center, the source that we are all connected to. There is an unmistakable beauty that moves and attracts beyond reason. It is simply inviting us to dive in. The colors suggest the delicious richness that we can feel when we allow deep absorption. The bright blue background indicates both the vast universe that is in the origin of every energy and the clear expression of romantic love that invites us into it. The color pink is associated with universal love of oneself and others, with a sweetness, a tenderness, and a care. Brighter pink brings an aspect of aliveness, excitement, high energy, and power. Reds refer to the physical plane, the place where we desire to experience this love. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, romantic love. The next card is the 2-6 in the flow, and this card today is Dorothy Gale. My story. I was boring in Gray, Kansas with my little dog Toto. A twister dropped my house into a magical land of Oz. The good witch Gilda told me to follow the yellow brick road to get to the Emerald City where the wizard lived. I met an incredible people along the way. At the end of my adventures, I found out that I had the power to go back home just by clicking the heels of my magical ruby slippers, and also that home was, after all, the best place to be in. My message: sometimes you think you have to search far away for what is in your own backyard. Sometimes you have to be far away from home and far away from the ones you love to realize how much you love them all. Discover new lands, follow colored brick roads, meet interesting people, but keep in mind that your true home is always where your heart is. Home is your only real quest. Isn't that beautiful? We're going to get back to that one. Okay, Mother of Dawn is in the Masule deck. Mother of Dawn belongs to the kingdom of Hades, the realm of Hades next to Pandemonium, the most mortal of the domains. This is perhaps due to the intensity of the human nature of the gods that dwell in and adjacent to it. To dwell in Hades is to express the care for the dead and for the living, the inevitable human nature, and the possibility of change even past the point of no return. And Mother of Dawn is the emissary. Once a mortal woman of legendary beauty, the Mother of Dawn now represents the populace of Hades, communicating their interests in the powers of the realm. In life, her beauty was used as a prize to be granted to others for their deeds and valor, irrespective of her own wishes. In death, she is free of these constraints and chooses to exercise the agency she was denied in life in the service of others. The Mother of Dawn illuminates the path of compassion and kindness, demonstrating that the difference between service and servitude is the power to choose. It is in this power ensuring that it is available to all that beauty is found, the domain of beauty, agency, and compassion. We're going to come back to that because that's actually very important. Okay, and then in the 4-8 is number 28, moving forward. Moving forward is in phase 3 in this deck, and phase 3 is the Guardian, midlife, empowerment, selfhood, authority, meaning, composure, gifts of renewal, and insight. And moving forward is the first step taken within our stillness. When we feel stuck, tired, or uninspired, we typically seek change, movement, or stimulation by adding something new to our lives. We may also be advised to do so by well-meaning individuals. The assumption being that an external alteration is the solution to our dissatisfaction. However, to only change the appearance of our lives typically eventuates in the new place, career, path, partner, activity, hobby, and ending as abruptly as it began. Like a caged rat within its spinning wheel, our restlessness search for something, somewhere, someone different resumes. Oversight of the futility of superficial change potentially sends us on a wildly blind and even reckless search for things to change about our lives and who we seem to be. This is all motivated by the false belief that we are indeed improving ourselves by moving. Instead of such self-inquiry, we chase after further means of escape and a multitude of distractions available. This buries and separates us further from accessing the satisfying state of being what we seek. Therefore, it serves us well to recall the truism, less is more, that instead of adding more to our lives to move forward, less is actually required. Releasing all that we no longer need to carry within us moves us imperceptibly and irreversibly forward. If our internal baggage remains the same spot, so do we. Nature teaches us through example. Its cycles of decay, regeneration, and growth model the true meaning of forward movement. This card shows up to invite you to sit with the cacophony of your presence. Shut your eyes to the drama. Review your inner landscape. Know that everything you release from within the stillness is a step forward. Moving forward in the physical through the form of new location, job, protection, or relationship only works when it reflects the new territory one has already arrived from at within. What we leave behind releases us forward. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Okay, so what do all these things mean together? Romantic love. So in the 1-5, I wanted to go back to my notes. In the 1-5, we have love, big picture. How do we honor the people who will be in the community? And what is the highest level of framework? So the community together, in the connection, some people will seek that romantic love as the ultimate connection. Connection is every person you're with in that moment. It doesn't matter if there is a sexual attraction or a romantic attraction. Sometimes sitting in and being with someone gives us a connection. And the highest frequency of connection in that is honoring what they bring into that moment, fully who they are, okay? And then we're looking at Dorothy. And Dorothy says very much I want to go back and read that. There was a place where they said, keep in mind your true home is always where your heart is. Sometimes you have to be far away to realize how close home is. And in the 2-6 dynamic here, it's very easy for someone to be seeking love outside of themselves. And 6 is notorious for this, always seeking outside, because that internal dialogue of not being good enough, and possibly the 2 dialogue of not knowing themselves. So this one's a really hard one to overcome when you've been told your whole life that you're not complete without someone else. And that's not true. Every connection you make with people teaches you a little bit more about the love of the self. And the love of the self then gives us the ability to make true, deep connections with other people. And then we have the card of Mother of Dawn. And I love, this is a really deep card, and I wanted to spend a little time on this. The mortal legendary beauty, Mother of Dawn, represents the populace, communicating their interests in the powers of the realm. Mother of Dawn illuminates the path of compassion and kindness, demonstrating the difference between service and servitude and the power of choice. When we're looking at what are the in-depth, joyous connections we make with the people around us, and do we give them the focus and the paying attention to the details of the things that matter to them so that we can honor them, but how do we also be engaged in that connection where we don't lose ourselves and we hold our boundary. We hold our boundary of all the possibilities of that connection and what it could be without getting lost in it, because we don't want to lose ourselves even in the connection with someone else. And then moving forward, the powerful words of this one are very much about how do we move forward and release the things that we don't need. And this one really pulled all of them together for me, because one of the things that I saw in this dynamic of these cards is that when we're looking at relationships and we're looking at our husbands, our wives, our partners, our mothers, our fathers, but especially our husbands and wives, our partners, our intimate companions, is that when things get hard in relationships, it's very easy to think of running away, okay? It's very easy to start thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, that this person isn't making me happy, okay? Now, I'm not talking about abusive relationships. I'm not talking about manipulative relationships or relationships where there's an uneven balance, okay? There isn't balance, basically. What I'm talking about is when two people are romantically in love, you go through a honeymoon period. You go through a period where everything is bliss and wonderful. And you kind of lose yourself. You lose yourself in that connection. You lose yourself in the movement and the excitement and the newness of everything, right? That happens. Pretty much everybody's experienced that at some point. And then the nitty-gritty focused details show up. The person who chews loud when they eat, the person who refuses to clean the bathroom, the person who leaves their dishes out, the person who doesn't do their laundry for 3 weeks, the person who doesn't change their sheets for 6 months. You know, things that are gross. Or the perfection, the control. Maybe somebody who not only washes their clothes every single time they wear it, but they wash the sheets on their bed every 3 days. Or has the attention to detail to line up all of the forks and spoons to line up exactly right in the drawer. You can go to extremes, right? And whatever those details are, whatever those minutia, come forward. And the shadows of the people that you're with come forward. Do they have a temper? Are they bothered by what you wear? Do they want you to wear something different? Do they want to match you? You know, there's so many, I've seen so many dynamics in relationships. I could go on. Their body odor, the type of soap that they use, their mother-in-law, you know, like, or their mother or their sisters, or maybe they forgot your birthday, or maybe they bring you flowers you don't like, or whatever it is, right? Whatever it is that starts to come up, the bubble up, the reality, the details, the things that you don't like, or that you talk yourself into being okay with. Do they have a huge temper? Do they lash out? Do they treat you like shit? What are all the dynamics that bubble up after you've gotten past the initial romantic getting lost in the relationship, right? How do you regain your footing? And how do you move forward with that? Do you move forward within the relationship? Do you say, okay, now these are things I'm willing to sacrifice. These are things I'm willing to accommodate. Or am I going to just run away and say, this person isn't worth being in a relationship with? And sometimes releasing the relationship is moving forward. And sometimes it's releasing your unrealistic expectations. But this also goes into friendships, because there are such a thing as romantic friendships. And I've had many of these where there is this wonderful euphoric feeling that you get a little lost in the friendship. You do a lot of things with this person. You go to their house, you do their things that they're interested in, and you kind of lose yourself for a little bit. And then that friend starts to show some of their shadow. They might lash out at you. They may, you may realize that this person has an awful temper, or you may realize this person is inequitable in their friendship. They take without giving. This person doesn't like any of your other friends. Maybe none of your other friends like this person. There's so many things that it can happen. And how do you move with that? Do you honor the friendship and the connection you had at the beginning? Do you move forward? How do you hold on? How do you let go? How do you navigate this process? Every relationship you have goes through this very interesting cycle. There's this euphoric beginning, there's this trust, connection, this romantic ideal of what that connection will be. You lose yourself a little bit. You lose yourself in that connection. There's movement, there's distraction, there's this amazing energy. And then it gets kind of like, you start noticing all the details. You start noticing things that could be, that aren't happening. You start noticing when you're heard and when you're not heard. You notice when things aren't aligning right, when verbiage and action aren't lining up, or you start noticing their shadows. And you notice your shadows in those shadows. And that gets really uncomfortable. And then you have to make a choice. Are you going to be authentic to yourself? Are you going to say something? Are you going to have a conversation with that person? Are you going to be real? Are you going to redefine what that looks like? Because it's never quite the same ever again once you see the shadow, right? So how do you move with the integrity and the authenticity of that knowingness? And sometimes releasing something and sitting in that space is how you move forward in a relationship. Sometimes abandoning the relationship and abandoning the connection you have with someone is actually what just bubbles up next time you have an encounter. It'll bubble up again. The universe will bring you the message over and over and over again if you run away. It always does. Because you wrote your blueprint and your guides are being true to you. And they are helping the universe. Universe is helping you. Mother Earth and all the entities that are here are helping you line up with your purpose. So every time you run away, universe brings it back. It just brings it back in a different form. And that's why you have people who say, why does the same thing keep happening to me over and over and over again? Well, is it happening to you? That's always my question. Is it always happening to you? Or have you been running away and universe is saying, hey, you gotta face this. You can't run away from your path. You can try, but it doesn't work. It will always slam you. So if someone in your sphere shows you your own shadow, of course it's tempting to run away. Of course. It's uncomfortable. It's hard. It hurts. And what do you do with that? Do you sit with it? It doesn't mean you own. This is not the same thing as somebody gaslighting you or submarining you or manipulating you or hurting you or abusing you, okay? This is, in a relationship, this spot is where you make a choice. What does this person bring into my life from the very beginning of the relationship? What did they bring into my life? And where does the shadow align with what I can be in this connection? Can I be authentic to myself and hold my boundaries? And can I love them still? Absolutely. Can I hold to the integrity of my boundaries and love them still? Absolutely. Can I accept that this person's shadow has the potential to heal? Absolutely. Can I still remember that joyous beginning with joy and admiration? Absolutely. Or do I need to walk away? Is my walking away part of that authentic release? Is it part of the releasing of what I thought could be that can't be because they're not healed? And can I be okay with that? There's so many layers in how these cards of transformation are showing us how we work in relationships. And it's a beautiful thing to know that the potentiality of every single person in our life goes through this cycle. We all go through this cycle. We all go through this amazing cycle of connection and joy, and we lose ourselves in the beauty of that little bit. And many relationships actually go through this in a circle 8 cycle over and over and over again. I find that with my partner. My husband and I feel like we go through this cycle almost every time that we connect in this new joy of something new or an activity. We go through this, it's exciting, it's new, it's joyous, we get a little lost in the planning, and then the reality of our personalities kind of kick in. The things that we both do well or both do not so well, and then we both have a choice to make. Are we going to move forward with that? Are we going to be authentic? Are we going to hold our boundaries? Are we going to honor each other in the integrity of who we are? And are we able to release the expectation we had versus the reality of what we're living? And it builds this depth in a relationship when you're able to accept the cycles of that and that it continues over and over and over again. There's nothing static. It's not supposed to be static. Our world is constantly moving. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a truly beautiful thing. So for today's daily devotion, I encourage you to think about the cycles of your relationships and the cycles of what these cards. Go back, listen to the beginning of what I read out of the books, take the nuggets of what you need, because there's an amazing step-by-step thing that we go through in these relationships, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in prayer. Blessed be.